You can call it poetic justice, you can call it a generational shift, but whatever you call it, Diana Taurasi just got schooled by someone who was still playing college ball a few months ago. Yes, Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's rookie phenom, has officially swept the season series against Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury, and she didn't just win, she dominated. 3 matchups, 3 victories. Not one of them came easy for the Mercury, and every single one told the same story. The torch isn't just being passed, it's being ripped out of the veterans' hands. The third and final game was the exclamation point. This wasn't just a rookie having a hot streak. This was a calculated dismantling of a Hall of Famers team on both ends of the floor. Clark came in with a point to prove not just to Taurasi, who had thrown shade at her earlier in the season, but to the entire league that questioned whether her college dominance could translate to the pros. The result? A sweep that will be talked about for years. From the opening tip, Clark's energy was different. She read the Mercury defense like an open book, punishing every misstep, exploiting every gap. She played with the precision of a seasoned veteran, not a first-year player. The Fever's offense ran entirely through her, and she made sure it ran like a well-oiled machine. Taurasi, one of the most respected and feared voices in women's basketball, had no answer. Her frustration showed in every timeout huddle, every trip back down the court. It's rare that you see a rookie take over a rivalry this decisively, but Caitlin Clark isn't your typical rookie. This was more than a series win, it was a statement of arrival. For Taurasi and the Mercury, the message was clear. The WNBA's new era isn't coming, it's already here, and it wears number 22 in Indiana. Records aren't supposed to fall this easily, especially not ones set by legends like Diana Taurasi. But on this night, in front of a charged Indiana crowd, Caitlin Clark didn't just flirt with history, she kicked the door down and rewrote it. Taurasi once held the mark for most assists in a single game, emphasis on once. Clark, with her unshakable confidence and laser-precise passing, dismantled that milestone and claimed it as her own, all while leading the Fever to yet another emphatic win over the Mercury. It wasn't just the number of assists that stunned everyone, it was the way she got them. Clark played chess while the Mercury played checkers. Every pass felt like a calculated strike, delivered exactly where it needed to be, threading through traffic, over outstretched hands, or whipping cross-court with pinpoint timing. She made her teammates look unstoppable, and in doing so, made Taurasi's defensive schemes look outdated. And as if breaking the single-game assist record wasn't enough, Clark also achieved something unheard of. In a 2-game span, she had directly scored or assisted on 62% of her team's total points. That's dominance that doesn't happen by accident. It's a statistical stranglehold on the game itself. The Fever didn't just beat the Mercury. They controlled them from start to finish because Clark dictated everything: the pace, the spacing, the rhythm. For Taurasi, watching a rookie slice through her team's defense like that must have been unsettling. For the league, it was a wake-up call. We've seen rookies come in hot before, but never with this level of sustained production and control over the flow of a game. Clark's name isn't just in the WNBA record books now, it's inked in bold, with an asterisk that says, "Get used to seeing it here." Some stats are impressive, others are career-defining, but then there are those that are so rare, so exclusive, they're almost mythical, the kind of numbers you'd expect to find next to names like Michael Jordan or Stephen Curry. And now, sitting right alongside them, is Caitlin Clark. In her rookie season, Clark became just the 3rd player in the combined history of the NBA and WNBA to post at least 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists on a 70% true shooting percentage, and she's done it twice. Let that sink in. Michael Jordan did it twice. Steph Curry? Twice. Caitlin Clark? Twice. And she's barely halfway through her first professional season. This isn't just about raw talent. It's about efficiency and control under pressure. Putting up numbers like that requires more than a hot shooting night. It demands an understanding of tempo, floor spacing, and defensive manipulation at a level that most veterans spend years trying to master. Clark has that instinct now. Her shot selection isn't reckless, it's surgical. When she attacks the basket, she's doing it with purpose. When she pulls up from deep, it's because she's already calculated the defense's inability to recover. For fans, this is the stuff of legend in the making. For opponents, it's a nightmare scenario. How do you game plan against someone who can score like a superstar, pass like a point guard, and do it all without sacrificing efficiency? For the WNBA, it's a golden opportunity. Stars like Jordan and Curry didn't just dominate games, they elevated their leagues. Clark is on that same trajectory, and the numbers don't lie. What's most staggering? She's doing this before she's even reached her physical or mental peak as a pro. If this is what she can do in year one, the question isn't if she'll break more records, it's how many and how fast. There's a difference between beating a defense and breaking it, and Caitlin Clark did the latter to the Phoenix Mercury. Watching her in that game was like watching an elite surgeon at work. Every cut was precise, every move deliberate, every decision made with total confidence. The Mercury tried everything, switching defenders, trapping high on the perimeter, sagging back to protect the paint, but none of it mattered. Clark read their adjustments like a veteran coach, dismantling them piece by piece. When they pressed her at the three-point line, she slipped passes through impossible windows to teammates cutting toward the rim. When they backed off to protect the paint, she stepped into her trademark deep three and buried it without hesitation. Her court vision was so sharp it looked like she had the playbook for both teams. At times, she wasn't just anticipating where her teammates would be, she was dictating where the defenders thought they needed to go, then punishing them for it. And here's the kicker. This wasn't just one great game. This was a blueprint of what she's been doing all season. Her ability to switch gears from floor general to scoring assassin is what makes her so dangerous. You can take away one weapon, but she'll just pivot to another without losing a step. That adaptability is something that most rookies struggle to develop in their entire first year. Clark had it from day one. By the end of the night, the Mercury defense didn't just look beaten, they looked confused. You could see it in their body language. The frustration was mounting, communication was breaking down, and rotations were collapsing under the pressure. For Clark, it was just another day at the office. For the Mercury, it was a masterclass in how one player's IQ can completely unravel a team's defensive identity. In sports, there are milestones, and then there are moments the kind that don't just fill a stat sheet, but redefine what's possible. For Caitlin Clark, that moment came when she became the youngest player in WNBA history to record a triple-double. And she didn't do it in a quiet, low-stakes game against a struggling opponent. She did it against Diana Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury, in the middle of an already heated season rivalry. This wasn't just a performance built on chasing numbers. Every rebound, every assist, every bucket had weight behind it. She wasn't padding stats in garbage time. She was carving up the Mercury in real time, in a game that mattered for playoff positioning. She had already come within one rebound of the milestone in a previous meeting with the Mercury, and instead of letting that near miss rattle her, she came back in the very next game and made history. That's not luck, that's competitive fire. Triple-doubles are rare in the WNBA, and even rarer for rookies. Achieving one requires a unique combination of skill sets: the vision to set up teammates, the scoring touch to create your own offense, and the awareness to control the glass. The fact that Clark can excel in all three areas and do it under the weight of expectation and media pressure speaks volumes about her readiness for the big stage. But here's the part that's most telling. It wasn't just her stats that night, it was her control. She dictated the pace of the game from the first quarter, deciding when to push in transition, when to slow things down, and when to deliver the knockout blow. That's something you expect from seasoned pros, not someone barely halfway through her rookie season. For the Fever, this was more than just another win. It was a glimpse into their future, a future where Caitlin Clark isn't just chasing records, she's setting the tone for an entire franchise. For the league, it was confirmation that this rookie ceiling might be higher than anyone dared to predict. Franchise records are supposed to be a celebration of a team's long history markers of the greatest moments in players to ever wear the jersey. In Indiana, many of those records have stood for years. Then Caitlin Clark arrived and started erasing and rewriting them before the ink from her rookie contract had even dried. The night she faced the Mercury, Clark didn't just orchestrate the Fever's offense, she demolished the team's long-standing assist marks. 7 assists in the first quarter alone, a franchise record. By the time the final buzzer sounded, she had also secured the record for most assists in a single game in Fever history. And these weren't just routine passes to wide-open shooters. They were the kind of high IQ thread-the-needle feeds that break a defense's spirit. It's not just about the number of assists, it's about what those assists represent. For years, Indiana has struggled to establish an offensive identity. Too often, their possessions ended in forced shots or stagnant ball movement. Clark has changed that overnight. She's turned the Fever into a team where everyone moves with purpose, because they know if they run the right lane or make the right cut, she'll find them. That belief creates energy, and that energy is contagious. Breaking those records in her rookie year also sends a message. This is her team now. Veterans and rookies alike are looking to her as the engine that drives the offense. And when a player with her court vision sets the standard, it elevates the entire roster. Players start running harder in transition, setting sharper screens, and trusting that the ball will come back to them because with Clark at the helm, it usually does. The Fever's record books will keep a tally of her numbers, but the bigger legacy is how she's transforming the culture of the team. Before Caitlin Clark, Indiana was a franchise looking for direction. Now, with a rookie point guard shattering assist records and setting new standards, they're looking like a team with a real identity and a very dangerous future. Diana Taurasi has built a career on swagger, skill, and an unshakable mental edge. She's not just a Hall of Famer in the making, she's one of the most respected trash talkers in basketball history. A player who can rattle opponents before the ball even tips. But against Caitlin Clark, that aura cracked. And for anyone watching closely, it was obvious. The rookie wasn't just winning games, she was getting in Taurasi's head. From the opening minutes, Taurasi's frustration was palpable. She argued with officials, barked at teammates, and at one point picked up a technical foul after a heated exchange with the referees over a call involving Brittany Griner. One more technical this season, and she'll face an automatic suspension, a situation she's surely aware of. Yet in this game, her emotions ran too hot to hide. Why? Because every time she tried to set the tone, Clark had an answer. Taurasi is used to dictating matchups, pushing rookies around, forcing them into bad decisions, showing them the gap between college hype and professional reality. But Clark didn't flinch. She attacked just as hard after a turnover as she did after a made shot. She took and hit deep threes with Taurasi in her face. She orchestrated the Fever offense so smoothly that Taurasi's defensive rotations looked a step behind all night. And it wasn't just the physical dominance, it was the poise. While Taurasi grew visibly agitated, Clark stayed locked in. No jawing, no retaliatory shoves, just surgical execution. In a mental battle, that's devastating. Every time Taurasi glanced at the scoreboard, she saw Clark's fingerprints all over the lead. For a player of Taurasi's stature, losing to a rookie 3 times in one season is one thing. Losing in a way that makes you look like you're chasing the game instead of controlling it, that's a different kind of sting. This wasn't just Clark outperforming Taurasi, it was Clark taking away her comfort zone, her edge, and her control over the game's emotional tempo. And if that's happening in year 1, you have to wonder what it will look like when Clark's experience catches up to her talent. Just a season ago, the Indiana Fever were the team you circled on the schedule not because you feared them, but because you expected a win. They were stuck in a cycle of rebuilding seasons, where player development was the polite euphemism for, we're going to lose a lot. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, that narrative didn't just shift, it flipped. And now, the Fever aren't a punchline. They're a problem. It didn't happen overnight. Those first weeks of the season, when the Fever stumbled to a 1-8 record, felt like déjà vu for long-suffering fans. But here's the difference, even in those losses, the energy was different. Games weren't ending with empty seats and slumped shoulders. They were ending with fans on their feet, rallying behind Clark's fearless play. She brought an edge, an urgency, and maybe most importantly, hope. As the season progressed, that hope turned into wins. The Fever began climbing the standings, fueled by Clark's ability to dictate pace and punish defensive lapses. Her vision opened up the floor for teammates like Aaliyah Boston, who suddenly found herself getting cleaner looks inside. Opposing teams had to decide, do you double Clark on the perimeter and risk giving up easy buckets in the paint? Or do you stay home on shooters and watch her drain threes from logo range? Either way, the Fever had answers because Clark created them. The shift wasn't just on the court. Attendance spiked, road games started selling out, and national media that once ignored the Fever began following every move. The franchise that had been on the margins was suddenly in the center of the conversation, not as a rebuilding project, but as a playoff threat. And make no mistake, in a league as tight as the WNBA, momentum like this is dangerous. If Clark and the Fever can keep their foot on the gas, they could not only secure a playoff spot, but also become the kind of underdog that nobody wants to face in a one-and-done postseason matchup. It's the kind of turnaround that reshapes a franchise's identity, and it's happening in real time, with a rookie leading the charge. In sports, there's an unwritten rule for rookies. Keep your head down, respect the veterans, learn the ropes, and don't try to change the game overnight. Caitlin Clark didn't just ignore that rule, she rewrote it entirely. In her first WNBA season, she's done what many players spend years trying to achieve. She shifted the balance of power, forced national attention onto her team, and elevated the league's profile in the process. Clark's rookie campaign wasn't just about numbers, though. The numbers themselves are absurd for a first-year guard. It was about impact. She didn't settle for being a promising young player who might be good in a few years. She came in as a headline maker, a shot taker, and a playmaker who demanded to be part of the conversation right now. Whether it was hitting logo threes under pressure, threading impossible passes through traffic, or turning fourth quarters into personal highlight reels, she made sure the WNBA didn't just watch her, it revolved around her. What makes her year so groundbreaking is the ripple effect. Her presence has directly boosted ticket sales, driven TV ratings to record highs, and pulled in casual fans who might never have watched a WNBA game before. Suddenly, Fever games are national events. Opposing arenas are selling out not just for their own teams, but for the chance to see Clark light them up. That kind of draw is rare, and for it to happen with a rookie is almost unheard of. On the court, she's proved that the transition from college to the pros doesn't have to be a slow climb. By attacking every game with confidence, even when she was struggling, she's set a new precedent. Rookies don't have to wait their turn. They can lead, they can carry, and they can redefine expectations from day one. That's not just a personal victory for Clark. It's a cultural shift for the league. The rookie rulebook says, learn first, lead later. Caitlin Clark's version says, lead now, and everyone else will learn from you. And as the dust settles on her first season, it's clear she's not just building a career, she's building a movement. One that's bigger than her, bigger than the Fever, and possibly big enough to change the trajectory of women's basketball forever.